If she didn't complete this challenge, she'd be turned into meat paste by the spinning propeller, but luckily, Johnny nailed it. She broke through her own limits again, and the audience cheered wildly, but Johnny just hit the gas and shot out like she was late for the highway. She flagged down Arjen's car and hopped right in. Even the old cow beside her was left dumbfounded. Then, the old flames agreed to have dinner together tonight, and by nightfall, Johnny was busy getting ready for the date. But her hands felt like they were burning. Cold water did nothing. Then, she heard motorbike sounds, rushed downstairs, and her dad's old, broken bike seemed magically polished. Suddenly, a burst of laughter rang out, and Johnny looked up to see that mysterious old man back again. He was here to make Johnny fulfill an old soul contract to deal with his troublesome son Witchstar, but Johnny wasn't about to be someone else's bride. She hopped on the motorcycle, but it was unruly, like a mischievous child. Unable to move, she stood as the old man's bony staff thumped to the ground. The motorcycle sped off like a rocket, with flames erupting everywhere it went, and just then, a cop hiding by the road saw the speedometer skyrocketing like it was in a race. She looked up and saw a flaming motorcycle zooming right at her. The heat waves sent her flying. The motorcycle brought Johnny to an abandoned warehouse, and her eyes were practically puffing out smoke. She was burning up. Each step felt like walking on fire. Johnny rushed in, flames roaring inside. Burning sensation turned her flesh into mush, and as she screamed, the flames reduced her to a skeleton. The power of hellfire was finally awakened. Johnny transformed into the Ghost Rider, and at that moment, Witchstar found her, and Johnny pointed dramatically. Tell him to return to hell, but Witchstar wouldn't obey. He turned into black mist and darted past her like a breeze. He snagged Johnny and hung her up, grinning as he saw her burning skull's flame go out, but the next second, hellfire reignited, and revived Johnny yanked the chains off and marched toward Witchstar like she was on a mission. But stepping in a puddle, she was stuck. Johnny saw the water demon had seized her chains before she could react. A big truck zoomed in fast, and the earth demon saw Johnny standing still and smirked, thinking the Ghost Rider was no big deal and prepared to cool. Before 2 steps, a fiery hand grabbed her shoulder. Turning boom. Johnny punched, sending her flying 30 meters. Right after, she engulfed the chains in hellfire and swung, wrapping up the earth demon like a holiday present. The earth demon screamed for help, but his buddies had already taken off like greased lightning. Soon enough, he was turned into a pile of smoldering confusion. Johnny pulled the chain, turning him to rubble. After defeating the earth demon, she happily whistled. The self-driving motorcycle zoomed over to her. With hellfire at her fingertips, it spread across the bike, transforming it into a fiery chariot. She hopped on the fiery chariot and zoomed off to chase Witchstar, completely forgetting her date with Arjen along the way. Suddenly, Johnny heard a scream. A thug was knife-rubbing. In a crisis, he swooped down. She saved the girl, and the thug saw the flaming skull and froze in fear as Johnny grabbed him by the collar and hoisted him up. But this guy thought he could sneak a stab, not realizing that his knife melted into molten metal in the hellfire. Johnny stared into the thug's eyes and unleashed the Ghost Rider's ultimate move, the Eye of Judgment, instantly. All of the thug's crimes flashed through his mind like a fast-paced movie, and as the memories came back, hellfire mercilessly scorched his soul. Finally, his eyes turned into magma before he collapsed. Johnny rode her fiery chariot, continuing to chase evil spirits through the city. But as the sun rose, the Ghost Rider's powers started to fade, and her chariot returned to normal. She collapsed to the ground as the hellfire slowly vanished, and with a painful scream, Johnny returned to her human form. When she woke up, she felt incredibly thirsty and found a bunch of cups of water on the nightstand. She didn't overthink it and quickly chugged down cup after cup until her thirst was quenched. Then she stepped out. She realized she was in a cemetery, and the groundskeeper's appearance shocked her. Johnny thanked him and was about to ride off. But the groundskeeper stopped her, and Johnny was intrigued by what he said. Turns out, this seemingly ordinary old man wasn't just any human. Johnny learned that he was also a Ghost Rider during their chat. He's lived for centuries. Johnny's arrival wasn't a coincidence. The groundskeeper explained in detail the origins of the Ghost Riders and the grudge they held against Witchstar. He advised Johnny to stay in the cemetery because it's a holy place where neither Witchstar nor that mysterious old man can enter. But Johnny wasn't the type to be caged. She wanted to quickly explain why she ghosted last night, while Arjen was busy doing live coverage. Johnny had turned the entire city into chaos last night as a Ghost Rider, and seeing the wreckage left behind shocked her as well. She found Arjen and wanted to explain what happened last night, but had no idea how to start. At that moment, the police behind her found her charred motorcycle plate amidst the wreckage. Meanwhile, Johnny was learning how to harness hellfire. Suddenly, Arjen came by and grilled Johnny on why she ghosted him last night, leaving Johnny tongue-tied. She didn't know how to explain, but pressed by Arjen, she confessed last night's events. Sure enough, Arjen didn't buy Johnny's explanation and thought she was joking just like that. The flicker of their old flame was snuffed out. Johnny watched Arjen walk away without stopping him because she feared she'd be a threat. But shortly after he left, Johnny was surrounded by cops. Turns out they found her license plate and tire tracks at the crime scene.